Okay, we're on YouTube, Ange. Nice. Okay, and then you just need to make me co-host or host. Ange. Make sure I'm ready. Okay, there we go. All right, so yeah, 28 people. Shout out to you guys for being here and just try to further your education. So today should be a really cool Zoom. Like I said, the idea for today is to identify a sub two, call the agent, and see if we can't set them up for us to send an offer. So the first thing I do is I'm looking at PropStream. I prefer to use PropStream because I can filter for specific properties, specific areas, specific um, mortgages, interest rates, all that good stuff, opposed to, like Privy or Zillow. You just can't filter that list down that much. Batch and PropStream are probably the best to do that. So right off the bat, I'm gonna say let's look in Austin, Texas. Okay, so there is 7 properties. And then I want to show you guys the filter. So these are the trade secrets right here. If you guys want to take a screenshot, take a picture with your phone, this set of filters is the trade secret for subject to deals. So first off, I'm looking for residential properties, single family and small multifamily, 3 bedrooms or more, 2 baths or more. I'm looking for active for sale on market properties. I don't want to look for any homes listed above 500,000, just because once you start getting into the $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 range, it's very expensive. Your buyer pool is going to be limited, and so are your exit strategies. Owner type as individual, and it doesn't even matter. You could do corporate, mixed, trust, all of that is fine. So add that to the list. Here's the most important part is 80% loan to value. So if here is the total value of the home, let's say it's 100,000, I want that $100,000 home to have an 80% loan, meaning it's $80,000 or higher. And that little portion up here is their equity. So I'm looking for low equity properties. Those make great subject to deals. So number of open mortgages, I only want one. I don't want them to have multiple types of mortgages. And now the balance, I want $500,000 or less on the balance of the loan. And I'm only looking for conventional FHA and VA loans. And I only want 5% interest rates or less. So in Austin, Texas, there are 7 active properties. So I am just going to start hitting the phone. So first thing I do is I'm going to copy the address and throw it in Zillow. And hopefully the agent's phone number is just listed right there. And some of these may be pending. So this one is not. This is a 419,000, 4-bed, 2-bath, 2,100 square feet, built in 2021. So that's likely when the previous owners bought it as a brand new home. So only been listed for 32 days, and we are going to contact Cynthia. Right on. Absolutely, Burke. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so we are going to go and call her right now. 364-8637. Yeah, hi, Cindy. My name is Dylan. I am just giving you a call about your listing on Montriella Drive in Austin. Yeah, just wanted to call and get some more information. So I'm not an agent. My team, we're looking to pick up a few rental properties this quarter. We've already acquired a handful, and we just need a couple of more. So I wanted to see how the listing's going and see if I might be a good fit for your client, and at least send you an offer.
Yeah, so I'm having my client review any offers that we receive.
Okay. Awesome.
So we don't have anything working at this point in time. So do you need information on how to submit an offer?
I would just need your email address.
It's Cindy, and it's spelled CYNDI.
Okay.
-Bell, B as in boy, ELL. At Realty Texas, all spelled out, realtytexas.com.
Texas.com. Okay. And you said Cindy-Bell?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And I see it's only been listed for 30 days. It's a brand new home. I mean, it's beautiful. How's it been going? Have you guys had a lot of showings or any offers on it so far?
We've had good showings. My seller hasn't authorized me to talk about any offers we've got.
Sure.
But it's got solar panels that will convey. It is just about a year and a half old. Lennar community, minutes away from the Tesla Gigafactory. It's in a good area. It's an up and coming part of East Austin with easy access to downtown. You probably maybe like 20-minute downtown drive along what you have on 130 as well. So you have access to the airport. So good area. Okay,
good to know. Yeah, we are just about to pick up a property in Hutto, Texas, and then an area just north of that. So, but we're looking all over Austin. We just see this as a strong market. It looks like from my research that the Austin market has come down since interest rates have rose, but that's pretty standard across the country.
So what I'm seeing is if you took out the numbers for COVID and just took out the appreciation, the over ask of cash in that time frame, and you plot it out over the normal appreciation of time, we're about on track of where we should have been if the COVID never happened.
Right. We're back at like 2019 type prices.
Yeah, but with appreciation. So we're still seeing appreciation. It's just we had to get the balloon, sort of quote unquote, had to deflate because most people, you're having those elevated sales prices, but we weren't hitting appraisals. We were just people paying cash over to get into the house.
Right.
So that was, it is what it is.
Right. They just inflated the market.
Oh no, when I call it, you're borrowing equity from the future to buy now.
Yeah.
All they did. So they're just going to sit their house. For those people that bought, they're just going to stay until the market catches up.
Yep, exactly. 100%. Yeah. Okay, good to know. And then, yeah, so an offer from us, we do buy quite a few properties in cash, and we buy properties in other ways as well. Cash, we usually save for, foreclosures or homes that need a little bit of work. Obviously, this one's in great shape, and we don't want to send them any lowball offer. I'd love to send them an offer very close, if not at their asking price. One way we can do that is where we buy the property subject to the existing mortgage. Is that something you guys have heard of or are familiar with at all?
We have, and I have discussed that with them. And I will continue to take those offers to him and let him investigate. So
sure. Okay, awesome. Yeah, just because it looks like they have such a great rate that's the benefit of it. So if it makes sense, if we're a good fit and vice versa, we can, talk more about it if they have any questions. But yeah, let me get something in front of you, and then we will follow up probably sometime next week.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Take care. Boom. First one, easy. Okay. So maybe we'll have time to do another one, but I want to show you guys now what it would look like to underwrite this and send an offer to her. So, and Pansy, I read your comment and I meant to ask about the solar, right? So it is good to know solar for investors is typically not a good thing because, it's either owned or it's leased, right? So, but either way, you can typically, take over the payments for the solar. So you're not going to have to pay for the solar all at once, all at closing. You can typically just basically you wouldn't be necessarily subject to the solar. You would actually have to what is it called? Not inherit. Apply for it, I guess, or yeah, you would just assume the solar payment.
Assume.
So
Yeah.
assume. Yep. I was looking for that word. Thanks for the help. So okay, cool. So let's send them an offer. So I'm going to share a different screen here. I'm going to share this screen over here. So you guys can see this screen where it says Slack for desktop, right? Yes. Okay, perfect. So the very first thing I do for all of you guys is I fill out what's called a seller net sheet. So this will show the client and the agent a side-by-side comparison of how much they will walk away with if they sell at their current asking price, and then how much they will make if they sell to us. So first number, and this, by the way, for you guys is in our Herd of Profits Facebook group, and I will show you guys in a second how we find that. So the very first number I plug in is what they are asking for the home. So that is $419,900. That is their current asking price. Now these folks have a decent amount of equity. I just closed PropStream. They have a loan balance of roughly $310,000. So that gives them, 300. Actually, we'll round up. It's 311,000. So the way that this sheet is formatted is once you plug in their selling price, it will automatically calculate the commissions to the realtors. So now, because I don't know what their listing agreement is for, it could be a 4%, it could be 5% or 6%. And that's why I have up here in the parentheses estimation. So we're just going to assume it's 6%, which is pretty standard across the country. So what it does, it takes this 419,900 times 0.06 or 6%, and that is 25,000. Don't do that. 25,194. This seller can expect to pay in just realtor commissions, $25,000. Title cost is 0.55%. Closing cost is just 1%. So you guys can see it's literally 1% of the asking price. And then subtract inspections. So this means that when a potential buyer goes and looks at the property, right, they're going to find things that are wrong with it. Doors don't shut properly. There's, holes in the walls, whatever could happen. The HVAC could be wrong. They, any number of things could be wrong with the home, even it being a brand new 2021 build. There are brand new homes just built yesterday that have issues wrong with them. So, and it is more of a buyer's market. Buyers have more power than they used to. So they're asking for concessions. So that's all this is. We are just going to assume it's $2,000, or sorry, 2% of the asking price. And then Sean asked, can you look at Zillow to see the percentage commission to the agent? Sometimes you can. Typically, if Zillow has it, it usually only says what the buyer's commission is. It doesn't say what the listing agent's commission is. But that is usually a good representation. So, okay, so I see it on Zillow. The buyer agency compensation is 3%. So if the buyer's getting 3%, that usually means the selling agent is also getting 3% as well. So I think we're pretty safe with assuming it's a 6% commission. Now, cost to get home list ready, they're already listed. So this number for me is usually always 0. But you can see that brings their net sale all the way from 420 basically to 379.8. A lot of sellers and even some agents don't really understand how much equity their clients will walk away with from closing. I have done so many seller net sheets where a seller might be getting 30,000 from closing, and I have agents tell me, well, they're expecting to walk away with 50,000, so your offer's not going to work. And I'm like, they only have 50,000 in equity. Like, how are they going to pay closing costs or agent commissions, right? It doesn't make sense. Some agents don't really understand that as well. Mark asks, the 6% commission is taken into consideration. She will be our agent as well, 3% to seller's agent, 3% to buyer's agent. Great question, Mark. I will show you in just a second how we handle that. Liera, hopefully I said that right. You're from the Colorado Springs area. Love it. Teresa asked, the buyer agent commission is 50% of the selling agent's commission unless otherwise disclosed. The buyer's agent commission is 50% of the selling agent. Huh, interesting. I didn't know that, Teresa. Yeah, usually I thought it all depends, right? Like she could be offering 1% to the selling agent and 3% to the buying agent. Most of the time I see it, the listing agent's trying to get more for obvious reasons. Burke asked, typically around a 10% loss, right? Great question, Burke. It's typically going to be anywhere from 8 to 10%. I think Zillow averages around, they say 9% in closing costs. And that means that after a seller sells their home, they will typically pay around, anywhere from 8 to 10% in agent commissions, closing costs, and other miscellaneous fees.
So Dylan, do you want me to speak on that commission?
Yes. Yeah, please. Absolutely.
I'm an inactive real estate broker. So the selling agent, the listing agent is always the one 100% of the time who negotiates that commission with the seller. And so it might be 5%, it might be 4%. When I was active, I charged 8% or 10%. And I did that because of my, that was part of my strategy to get their house sold. And so it's, if I'm charging 8% as the seller's agent, then unless I otherwise disclose it in MLS, the buyer's agent gets 50% of that. If I disclose in MLS, say I'm charging 8%, and then I disclose in MLS, buyer's agent to get 2% or 3%, then that buyer's agent knows how much they're getting.
Right.
And, but if it's not disclosed, it's always 50%.
Gotcha.
Of the listing agents, of whatever's on there. So when we're looking at stuff and it says 6% that the seller's agent, so we're looking at the listing, what we see on the outside, not behind closed doors, but what we see as the outside on the MLS is the selling agent's commission that's been negotiated with the seller. So if it's 6%, then the buyer's agent knows that they're getting 3%. They're getting 50%, unless it's otherwise disclosed.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So it's likely that because this is disclosed, that it's possible that the listing agent could be getting maybe 4% or higher.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That is good to know. I never knew that. I always assumed that was the case, but I do know Angie and Dom, sometimes they have a 5% listing agreement where it might be, 3% to them and 2% to the buying agent. And you made a great point where your strategy to get the home to be sold faster by offering a higher commission means that agent, that buyer's representative, is going to push to get that home sold.
Absolutely.
So
and yep, you got it. You got it right there. That's it in a nutshell.
I love it. Angie, you're unmuted. Oh, I can mute her. And yeah, Liera, so it's sort of complicated. You actually have to register through our third-party platform on Circle to be able to join the Zooms, is my understanding. I am not entirely sure if you can just go to like our Facebook page and click the Zoom link. You may have to register through the platform Circle. which is a whole other mess. I'm not an expert at that, so they may just have to wait till the next Zoom. But this will be recorded and we're currently live on YouTube. So if they want to check us out on Angie's YouTube channel, they can do that as well. And that's just youtube.com/Angie Milanazzo. So, okay, perfect. So back to this one, right? So their net sale again, $379,800. That leaves them with $68,800 in equity. For me, this is a little bit too much equity for us to target. I prefer to see sellers, unfortunately, walking away with less than 50%, or sorry, less than 5% equity or nothing, right? Like if you guys saw the LOI that I had up before I started editing this, we have a client in Colorado Springs where the home is worth exactly what she owes, if not less, right? So if she sold, she's going to pay close to 10% or $40,000. They're going to have to cut a check for $40,000 just to sell their home. So that is a better situation for us because then we don't have to offer as much down, right? So, so this is how you make the seller net sheet, right? You always start with their selling price and then how much they owe. The rest of this should automatically calculate for you guys. And if you don't know, if it doesn't, again, it's just B16 times 0.06 or the selling price times 6%, selling price times.
Want to find some clothes?
Well,
Let's go find your clothes. And then we could go for.
There we go. So yeah, the subtract title cost is selling price times 0.0055. Subtract closing costs is times 0.01. Inspection times 0.02. And then net sale is the B16 minus realtor commissions, title costs, closing costs, inspection, and then get the home to list ready. And that's your net sale. And then their equity is obviously just net sale, subtract the loans. Okay. So now how we come up with our offer, I am always, every time I send an offer, it is going to beat what they get with selling their home. So they're going to walk away with $68,800. So I want to beat that by at least probably $5,000 to $10,000. And that number could go up. Let's say they have 100K in equity. I'm probably going to offer maybe 120,000, just again to entice them. So 68,800. So let's offer a little bit more. Let's offer like 81,000. And I like to make my numbers a little bit random. So I'm going to make it 81,550. This is the same reason grocery stores price their stuff at $4.99, right? They're not making it flat because it looks like it's more calculated, all that good stuff. So, and then let me make sure I'm reading the questions. Someone asked, Imani asked, when we get a chance, can you show the filters on PropStream? Absolutely, Imani. I will do that again. 7 says, Dylan, could you please show examples for multi-unit apartment deals doing wholesaling, usually closing times 45 to 60 days for commercial deals? Yes, 7, we don't necessarily, it's 7 Horses Construction. To be honest, I do not really target multifamily right now. Wholesaling multifamily is close to impossible, unless you're dealing direct with a seller and they're just not that sophisticated, but it's going to be extremely difficult for you to wholesale a multifamily deal. Commercial brokers know how to sniff out who's a wholesaler and who's not. The best thing to do for multifamily is learn syndication. So we're in the process of doing that, starting a fund, getting a securities attorney ready. We are hoping to take down some larger multifamily properties next year. 2024 is our goal. So, and then Burke asks, can you briefly go over why higher seller equity is not good for us? Yeah, Burke. So it's very counterintuitive to what most investors look for, right? Most investors look for high equity, or at least in the seller finance realm, you want high equity or all equity, right? So you can do a seller finance. The reason for us wanting low equity is just so that we can get into the deal for less, right? So if they're, let's say they break even, right? They're going to walk away with $0. I can offer them $10,000 or $15,000, and I'm getting into a deal for less than, 25 probably after paying the agent. Versus these people, 68,800. I am not going to be able to put all of that money as a down payment. It wouldn't be a good deal if I offer them 80,000 as a down payment. So here's what I'm going to show you. So net equity 81,550, right? So again, I am not going to give them all of this as a down payment. It would not be a good deal for us. I would be way overpaying for the property. So now here's the calculation, right? So 81,550. Once you plug in this number, it is automatically going to add it to your subtract mortgage. So your net sale is basically B10 plus B11, right? So now their net sale by selling to us is 392,550. And then our selling price is the exact same price because they're not going to have to pay commissions, title costs, closing costs. In this parentheses, you can see we pay this. So our net sale and our selling price are the exact same numbers. So you can see our net sale is 392,550 opposed to their net sale of 379, right? So we're beating their net sale. Okay. So now here's where it gets a little bit tricky when you're dealing with higher end sellers, right? Like I said, I'm not going to just give them all 81,000 as a down payment. This is what's called a hybrid offer. So I'm going to give them some of this as a down payment and the rest of it will be a seller carryback, seller finance. So now how do you figure out? Do you walk the listing agent through the spreadsheet numbers? Not typically, Donna. My hope, and it definitely is not always the case, is that the listing agent understands this spreadsheet. And if they don't, I always will give a follow-up call. So like I told Cindy, I will call her next week and go over it with her, see what her clients think. If she has any questions, my hope is that they understand this though, which I think most agents will, but not every agent will. So now, again, the tricky part of this is, okay, how much do I offer as a down payment to make this a good deal? So this is just inside information from what we've learned with our experience wholesaling deals, is that the vast majority of subject to buyers want to have their entry fee, all of the money it takes to buy a deal, at 10% or less, right? So 10% or less. Okay. So remember that every deal you see posted in sub 2 is going to be around a 10% entry, maybe a little higher, maybe a little bit lower, but around 10%. And that includes a down payment to the seller, a paying the listing agent, catching up arrears, any repairs, and an assignment fee for us. We're trying to get all of that at 10% of the purchase price, right? So, and then just to go over this with you guys, I am offering to pay this listing agent 2%. Okay. So this automatically calculates, once I figure out my net sale, 392,550, again, it populates down here, it just copies it. It's going to automatically calculate 2% of the selling price. So that is 2% of 392,550. So I'm offering the agent $7,851. Now, this home has only been listed for 30 days or so, right? And we have a pretty good guess that this agent is getting 3%. So those two factors, right, haven't been on the market very long, and we know she's getting 3%. She might not like that we're only offering 2%. Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, I encourage the feedback. Yeah.
So you're offering that agent. So this is something that the general public doesn't know either. So it costs her 0.5% to list that property and market it. So you're really only giving her 1.5%, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, I did not realize that. What cost is that? Where does that cost come from? That 0.5%?
That cost comes from putting it on MLS and other marketing platforms, and just depends on the the area she's marketing in, you know, so you could easily put in there that, you know, just it costs her 0.5% for every listing she does. So I was a listing agent, and so in reality, she's not getting 3%, she's getting 2.5% because of her energy, money that she's putting hard cash into it. And that's just an average. If you're marketing in Florida, gosh, you know, for me to put a house in in the Martha's Vineyard area, it's $4,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to, you know,
Yeah.
I personally would suggest that we change this formula. This is what I've been looking for, is this formula, before I start pumping leads.
love it.
And so, instead of offering them 2%, I would offer them 3%, because in reality, they're getting 2.5%.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
because
so
it
good to
really
know.
does cost them a lot of money to put on a monthly basis, whether they sell a house or not. They have these fees every month that's astronomical.
Right. Okay. I knew that obviously some listing agents are going to pay for professional photos and staging and all that other stuff too. I've heard some agents pay to like even paint a client's house.
Oh,
Maybe-
absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot going into that percentage. And that's one of the other reasons I always charged more. Because of what I did, you know, for my
Mhm.
clients, but you know, I sold their house in less than 30 days. So I would just change that to 3%, because
Sure.
you're more likely to get a better relationship.
Absolutely. And so that's such a good point too. And the reason I do this is more for the properties that have been listed for 90 days, 100 days, right? Because to be honest, I would say at least 60 to 70% of the deals we do lock up, we offered to pay the agent a 2% commission, and they were fine with that. So for us, it definitely could be disincentivizing. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
it just depends on the location.
right.
I
But
mean, all the
for
way
us-
down to the county.
Yep. So for us, I think it's sort of a negotiation piece where, you know, if we send it at 2%, right, and they ask, which I have had several agents say, you know, everything's great, but is there any way you can get me a 3% commission? And literally the line verbatim that I say is, I would love to pay you 6%. And this is sincerely how I feel, because Angie and Dom are agents, and 90% of the work you do goes unpaid unless you buy or sell a home, right? So I would love to pay them 6%. It just all depends on the numbers, right? And I blame it on someone else. I basically do most of the underwriting and negotiating, but I say, you know, our underwriting department has strict guidelines they have to follow for these deals to work. So let me bring it to my underwriting team and see if we can't bump that commission up. So it is sort of a negotiating piece, but that's why I said, right, like I know her commission, or we have a pretty good guess that it's 3%, and it's only been listed 30 days. So you are right. Like if I send this offer and she sees that 2%, that might just be a reason for her to say, no, this isn't such a good offer, or for her to advise her clients like, hey, here's some scummy investor trying to lowball you and me. So you're absolutely right. It might be a good idea for this one, I think, to send a 3% commission. But most of the time, if a property's been listed for a while, just like 60 to 70% of the properties we do pick up with an agent, they're okay with 2%. So
Yeah, because they're going to lose the listing.
exactly. Yeah. But 2% is better than no percent. So
Right. Yeah. Because
Yep.
if their listing is going to expire in 10 days, you know, and they haven't done their due diligence with their client, then they're going to lose it. And maybe they've already tried to do their due diligence and the client's like, yeah, I know you didn't sell it in 90 days, so I'm going to move on.
Yep. They think it's their agent that didn't put cookies and balloons at their open house versus the price of the home is actually
It's
what
a
sold
little
it.
of both.
It is a little of both. The agents definitely can influence it 100%. Like a good agent can definitely sell your home better than a bad agent, but also price and condition of your home is super important too.
Yeah. And I feel like that's part of being a good agent as well. I mean,
Right.
I'm not too proud to say that, you know, I worked in the most prestigious office in the state of Oregon, and I undercut everyone in my office on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
they
it's
were
just-
lazy.
Yeah, they're lazy. They didn't set their clients' expectations. Like, hey, your home is just not going to sell at 420. It's not. So like,
Right.
pull up a market analysis and sit down with them and go over, hey, here's every home that's sold around you. None of them have sold at 420. So
Right.
that's also part of being a good agent. Absolutely.
Yeah. Staging the house, doing repairs, all that stuff matters. And being able to sit at that kitchen table and have a serious conversation with somebody is key.
Yep. Yeah, Shan says, Teresa, this is such good inside information. Thank you for your broker's perspective. Same thing for me, Teresa. You definitely have taught me a couple of things that I did not know. So, and then Yolanda says, I'm curious, since you have Teresa, how long or how likely is it once a listing expires that the seller rehires them? My guess is probably less than 20%. What do you think?
Yeah, so Yolanda, if I'm reading this right, how likely is it that once a listing expires that the seller rehires that same agent? Unless the agent has done their due diligence, like say, 10 to 14 days before that expiration date, and goes and relists it and tells them a new game plan, the seller a new game plan, then they're not going to relist with that same agent. And that's where I would go in. I was hungry, and I go in 2 weeks before. I'm looking at all these listings that are about to expire, and I start dialing these sellers, asking them questions, make them bleed. How do you like working with said person? And maybe it wasn't people from my own office, because you have, as an agent, I have access to all of that. And so I just ask them questions that make them bleed, and then tell them, I'd really like to be able to solve this problem for you. And I would promise them that I would sell their house in less than 30 days if they agreed to do what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And it always worked.
Yeah, I would say there's a few circumstances, like maybe in the, November, December period of 2022, when interest rates really started to spike up and people just realize it's not the best time to sell. They might let it expire and then rehire that agent. But there's going to be a few circumstances where if an agent fails, they let that agent try again. So
yeah, correct. And I was active I got my license in March of 2007, and I was active through 2010. So all during that recession, or whatever the hell they called it, I just wanted the TV to shut up.
Yeah.
And but that's when I was active. So it was really a turbulent time for lending and banks and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it was important that people understood if they wanted to sell their house, these are the things that we need to do. And I feel like this that we're doing with you, Dylan, and what you're teaching is all about that.
Absolutely.
Step 2, creative financing, all of that stuff comes right back to that target of how we can help the seller.
100%. Okay, so let me get back to
Sorry,
this.
I'll show.
No worries, you're fine. So let me finish this out. So this is really important for you guys to know. When we have a property with a decent amount of equity, right, we need to split this up. This is going to be a hybrid where we offer a down payment, take over the loan sub to, and there's also a second position seller finance. There's no way, again, we offer 81,550. So what I need you guys to write down is, if this is a hybrid, you're only offering a range of anywhere from 3.5% up to 6.5% as a down payment. So that's the range for me, at least. It could vary, depends, but typically it's 3.5% to 6.5% as a down payment. Now, what influences where it's at on that range is their interest rate. So, and I'll bring PropStream back over here just so you guys can see it. So you guys can see, right, they have a conventional loan at 2.8%. PropStream is wrong sometimes. This could be 3.5. It could be, it's usually within a point, give or take. So it's likely not above 4 though. So I would say this could be up to 3.8, but because PropStream shows me it's a 2.8, it's usually pretty close. And also the year built is 2021. It's a brand new home, right? So I'm going to offer them the higher amount because it's a low interest rate and a new build, okay? So again, that range is 3.5% to 6.5%. And the reason for that range, again, is because we need to buy this deal for less than 10% to be able to add our assignment fee. Okay, so let me bring this back up. And again, now, I do think Teresa's right. She probably would not want a 2% commission. So let's offer her a 3% commission, right? So now we're already into the deal for 3%. So if we offer the seller 7%, we're at a total of 10, plus closing costs, plus my assignment fee, we're well over probably 12 to 13%. So I need to offer her probably around 5.5% to 6%. If I was going to offer the agent 2%, I would probably do 6 to 6.5. So let's just offer her 5.5%. So that calculation is 392,550, right? Our selling price times 0.055. That's 5.5%. Okay, so my down payment cash to seller at closing is going to be $21,590. And whatever's left out of this 81,000 is my seller carryback. So 81,550 minus 21,590 is $59,960. Again, this is why higher equity is not great for us, because it's not really enticing to the seller, right? If they sell traditionally, they're walking away with cash in pocket, $68,000 approximately, versus ours, we're only offering $21,590, even though this number is higher, right? But it's over a longer period of time. And for most of the sellers, they're not going to want that. No, Burke, it's 3.5% to 6.5% of our selling price, of our net sale price, 392,550. So that is my offer, right? So now obviously there's a question about, okay, the seller carryback, right? Seller financing, what are the terms of that seller financing? Okay, so now let me go back to sharing this screen. Okay, so you guys can see this PropStream screen now, right? So I'm going to go to DocHub. For all of you guys that don't know, DocHub.com is probably the best PDF editor, and it's totally free. You can edit up to 5 PDFs a day, 100% free. You don't need a paid subscription. You don't need the pro version. We have the pro version, and that obviously just lets us send more LOIs, and you can also include, you can send it out for signatures, just like DocuSign or PandaDoc. So, but for you guys, I would say if you're sending out 5 offers a day as an individual, you're crushing it. You probably don't need the paid version at least yet. So now what I'm going to send them is, I'm not going to send a full contract. I'm going to send a letter of intent. The letter of intent is it's only 2 pages, and it's a lot simpler to read and for them to understand versus a full contract with addendums and all that verbiage. So we have 3 letters of intent. One is for seller finance, so they don't have a loan. We're only doing seller finance. One is for subject to only, where I'm only going to give them a down payment and take over the loan. And then this third one, the one that we're going to use, is a hybrid LOI. So this is seller finance and subject to together. So first thing I do is change the name of it to LOI dash, then I prefer to use the street name, so I'm only just going to use Montriella Drive. Actually, copy this whole thing. LOI for Montriella Drive. So I just prefer, that's how I like to keep track of these, is I just type in the street name. So my LOI for Montriella Drive. Now, if you guys want to read this, it says the purpose of this letter is to set forth some basic terms and conditions of the proposed purchase by the undersigned, the buyer of certain real estate owned by you, the seller. The terms set forth in this letter will not become binding until a more detailed purchase agreement is negotiated and signed by the parties. So if this is not a non-binding, or this is a non-binding offer, basically, it's just a mock offer is what I like to say. So, oh, and that actually goes down here. So address goes right here. What goes here is your LLC name. So ours is Legacy Property Solutions LLC, from the owner. And the great thing about PropStream is it shows me the owner, Mr. Larry Rogers, right here. Okay. And then all I'm doing now is I'm just going to copy and paste the information from my seller net sheet. So again, our offer price is $392,550. Our down payment is where did it go? $21,590. Subject to the existing mortgage, so DHI Mortgage Company. Privy does actually, oh, I didn't know you can do that. If you guys only have Privy, you don't have PropStream, you can find mortgage information on Privy, actually. You just can't filter for it. So you can't filter or search for low equity. You have to kind of click on them individually until you find it. So go to public records, mortgage history, and yeah, so Privy even says they have a 2.8 rate. So that could be accurate, but I can also see DHI Mortgage Company, LTD. So I'm going to go back to my LOI, paste that. And then I like to put in the amount, right? So it was approximately $311,000. I will usually put in parentheses approximate and make this a little bit smaller. So, and then I like to put an arrow. We continue to make the payments to this lender. The seller will no longer have this expense, just to really spell it out for them. Okay, so now my seller carryback financing is $59,960, right? So again, this is the tricky part. Where, like, how much do we offer for the, like, what are the terms of this, right? So I typically will try to stick in a range of $100 to $300, depending on the price of the home and how much the loan amount is for. For something like $60,000 like this, let's see. And again, 0% interest rate is what we shoot for. I might offer them an interest rate. I might decrease the loan amount. So make sure you guys have a good amortization calculator. I prefer calculator.net/amortization. I don't know what I just did there. But yeah, $60,000 over 30 years at 0% is $166. Now, again, for most sellers, right, that is not going to be an intriguing offer. You're going to pay me $166 a month for 360 months. It's just not super enticing. That being said, we have closed a deal here in Pueblo, Colorado, where the seller agreed to $70,000 or $80,000 at 30 years at 0% interest, and we only gave them 10 grand as a down payment, and they accepted that. We wrapped that property, and we're making a cool $700 a month on it. Super great deal. So let's see what 20 years looks like. $250. It's a little bit more enticing. So I'm going to do 20 years at 0% interest. I could do 30 years with 3% interest. Let's look what that looks like. So about the same, right? So might be a little, it's more enticing. Obviously, they're going to make $31,000 more in interest. So maybe we'll just do that. That makes it a little bit more enticing. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to spell this out at 3%. So $60,000 at 3%. We're going to do 30 years or 360 months, and we're going to pay them $252.79 per month. Mark,
Question.
yeah.
Should we put in there, sorry, everybody. Should we put in there, so the monthly installments to seller, or up here on this next one, or 2 lines up, seller carryback financing, 59,000 at 3%, total of the total, which would,
Like their interest as well.
well, yeah, so their total of would be 91,000.
Right. So like just even saying like equals 91,000, something like that.
Yeah, because that is appealing to the eye, and they're like, oh, wow, I'm gonna make I'm gonna make
Right.
a lot more money than that 59,000.
Yeah. And you
People are
definitely have
simple.
the right, yeah, you have the right thought process too. Because sometimes what I'll do is I will put in the seller net sheet interest earned, and then put that 31,000 whatever, and then
Yeah.
also add it to this. So now they're walking away with $111,000 or $112,000. So
Yeah, that to me, when somebody looks at that real simply, they're gonna go, oh yeah, I want to do that.
right. So I'm just gonna make it 31,000 as a flat number. So I do that sometimes I don't, but 100%. So 81,550 plus 31,000 equals, yep, 112,550. Now that will change. So you'll have to like go back in, edit your formulas, right? Like just get rid of this, because now our selling price was 392,550 yesterday. Yeah. So you'll just have to come back in and edit the formulas if you do that, because it will increase your selling price, and then that adversely increases the realtor commissions and all that stuff. So then it's not such a great deal. But 100%, you have the right idea, Teresa. And then Mark asks a good question. Do you always go in with 30 years or 3 to 5 year balloon with an extension? Mark, I usually will never offer a balloon payment unless that was already spoken about. Balloons tend to not kill a deal, but they definitely hurt it. Because if I'm going to wrap this, and then let me explain that too. So the reason I'm not comping this property, the reason I'm not checking the rents or Airbnb, is because I know for a fact that if they accepted this offer, that it's possible it could work out as a seller or as a long-term rental, traveling nurses. I just don't want to spend a ton of time researching and comping and finding rents for this property, because I know for a fact that we always have one exit strategy that works, and that is being a wrap. So wraps are tough to explain. Even real estate attorneys can't simply explain them. But basically, we can sell this property in turn for seller finance and then ask someone for let's say a $30,000 down payment and then give them a 6% interest rate. That's what a wrap is. So I know that this type of offer will almost always work for a wrap transaction. Now, if I put a balloon in there, the person I wrap this to, the person that buys it, is going to have to either refinance or sell when that balloon comes due. So it hurts my ability to sell this deal. So that's why I will not offer a balloon. If they want one, we can negotiate it. So last thing I do is I'm going to copy the name again, go down to the seller and just paste his name. And then I'm going to put my entity again, Legacy Property Solutions, LLC. And then I'm going to put my name, Dylan Eggers, as a, okay. And then this LOI also has a space for you to put a cash offer. When I'm doing the seller finance LOI, when they don't have a loan, they only have equity, I might put a cash offer in here, but I know that these guys are just most likely not going to accept a low cash offer where we need it. So I'm just going to erase it. Burke asks, is a wrap kind of like flipping the sub-2 contract almost? You could call it that. So for all of you guys, again, wraps are hard to explain. It's a literal term. I am taking for example, on Montriello, this one that we're doing right now, I'm taking the existing conventional mortgage at 2.8% and the seller finance note or mortgage at 3. And I'm going to wrap them together. I'm going to increase the price and then increase the interest rate. So I'm making a new note with these notes wrapped into it, and I'm going to increase the interest rate. So that's how I cash flow, because someone is going to be willing to pay a higher monthly payment to be able to own a property versus rent it. Okay. So like, let's say their current PITI, their current monthly payment is $2,000, and that's how much I could rent it for. It's not a good deal. But if I can wrap it and someone who's willing to buy it is willing to pay $2,500 a month, now I make that $500 a month difference. 100%, Burke. That's why the vast majority of sub-2 buyers are okay with buying deals that don't cash flow, because they know they can wrap them 100%. So that's it. That's how you write the LOI. That's how you fill out the seller net sheet. This one's a little bit more complicated because we have the seller carryback. It's a hybrid, so it's a little bit more complicated versus just a straight up sub-2 where it's just purchase price, down payment, and mortgage. There's no seller carryback. Those are ideal for us. Those are the best for us. So now if we look at this, right, where our down payment is $21,590, and we offered to pay the agent an $11,000 commission, so $11,777 equals $33,000. Okay, and then so our purchase price is $392. So if I divide that 392,550, we're at 8.5%. So I can now market this for an assignment fee of 2.5%, and that's the total of a 10% entry, right? So what is 392,550 times 0.025? So $9,800. I can market this for basically a $10,000 assignment fee, and my buyer is going to be at an all-in of 10%. We typically never include closing costs in that 10% because it's just the cost of doing business. You know, every buyer should pay their own closing costs. They shouldn't haggle with you on their closing costs. Every good buyer should not worry about closing costs. It's just the cost of doing business. And for this one, it would cost maybe $2,500 to $3,000 in closing costs. Mark asked, do you get them to agree on the contract first before you go to wholesale it? Right on, Teresa, I'm excited. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you learned some stuff. This is literally what I do on a day-to-day basis. I have you know, we have a team of people that call these leads. They put it into our CRM. They tag it with the underwriting. That's what UW stands for. So then I look at it, I underwrite it, and I send an offer. And then I'm usually the one making the follow-up calls and trying to close it, get a contract. Mark, I'm not too sure what you mean by that. Do you get them to agree on the contract first before you try to wholesale it? Like, yeah, I mean, I will never market a property unless I have a signed contract from the seller, because you could just be wasting time. And you're also, if you don't have a signed contract, you're technically illegally marketing that property. You don't have what's called equitable interest, which is what you need to market a property.
Well,
So
really quick, Dylan?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? So in regards to that, though, you're either going in one way or the other, meaning you're either going in as a wholesaler, knowing what your numbers are, or you're saying, oh, I'm going to go ahead and my exit strategy is going to be either short-term, mid-term, or long-term, and that's how you're going into it. So I guess maybe I might be even answering my own question by saying, if I'm going to wholesale it, then I know I have a 2% spread that I can make up to $9,000 to $10,000, or I'm going to go ahead and my exit strategy is buying and holding.
Yep.
Is that?
Yeah. You have a great question, Mark. So this is a mindset for all of you guys to have about wholesaling or wholesalers. I don't hate it, but I don't like when people call me a wholesaler or ask if I'm a wholesaler, because that's the wrong question. Wholesaling is an exit strategy. That's an exit strategy. So do I wholesale? Yes. Am I a wholesaler? No. That's an exit strategy I deploy. And great question, Mark, because we do not wholesale all of these. We keep some of these and wrap them ourselves, or keep them as short-term rental ourselves. So going into this, I don't know if I'm the buyer yet, but I know that for certain I have two exit strategies. I can wrap this or I can wholesale it all the time, all day long, because I know my numbers are right. I know someone would buy this, or I know I could wrap this and someone would buy it to live in it. So yeah, great question. I don't know yet if I'm going to wholesale this or keep it. That's why if the agent asks me, are you a wholesaler? 100% not. No. Have I wholesaled properties in the past? Yeah, that's one of my exit strategies. But I could also turn this into a short-term rental, long-term rental, wrap, whatever. So, and sometimes, not all the times, I would say probably 70% of the time, in my follow-up call, I will explain my exit strategies. I typically don't always, I would say maybe even 20% of the time, I let them know, hey, I might wholesale this. Again, because I just don't want to raise any red flags until a contract is signed. But I will tell them, I will explain to them what a wrap is. Hey, I will resell this property on Seller Find. I'll explain what a wrap is and how it works. And so that way they know, because I don't want them to, think that I'm dumb for buying this, or that this property doesn't even cash flow. Why would you buy it? Here's why I'm going to buy it, because I know I can wrap it. So
So it's kind of like you're just building trust until the second call. So it's like almost like a 3 to 5 minute call. Hey, here's my offer. Now you sent them something. Now that they can believe and trust, oh, this guy's real. And then maybe on the follow-up call, then you may explain the exit strategies, one of which could be wholesaling or buy and hold.
Right. You got it 100%. On that first phone call, the agent understood subject to, she had heard of it before. They were open to it. So that was great. But on that first call, I am not trying to overcome objections. I am not trying to close it right there. I am trying to set them up for, hey, I'm a buyer. I'd love to submit an offer. Get their email. Boom, that part's done. Now, get a little bit more information. Let them know I'm going to send a subject to offer. Are you familiar with that? Yes, no, doesn't work, whatever. I'm still sending you an offer. I don't care. Even if you tell me to screw off, like, you're going to get an offer from me. And then I didn't do an amazing job at it, but that first phone call, I should also say, I tried to name drop, I guess, like, yeah, we're closing on one in Hutto, Texas, and another one just north of that. So we're actively buying properties. whether or not this one is a good fit for us or we're a good fit for your clients. I'd love it if you could save me in your phone as your go-to investor, because we are actively buying 10, 6, 10, 50 homes a month, whatever. So that might be on my follow-up call. So, so let's send her an email now. So I'll show you guys what the email looks like. We need to do that. So I'm going to compose my email, and her email is syndi-bell@realtytexas.com. Okay. And then for me, I always blind copy my team. So Joey, Angie, my transaction coordinator, Jordan, and Rachel. Obviously, if it's just you guys don't need to blind copy anybody, but I always just blind copy them. So that way, if I'm not here, Joey can do a follow-up or Angie can do a follow-up. If the LOI is accepted, I send a text to my TC Jordan, hey, the LOI for this address was accepted. She has it in her inbox. She goes and just plugs it into a contract. And then Rachel keeps track of our KPIs. So she sees how many offers we send out. So this one is LOI for, I forget the name already, Montreal Drive. Okay, and then I'm just going to say, hey, Cindy. And I have a template for this. Not really a template, but I send so many LOIs, I just copy what I typically always post. So, yeah. So hey, Cindy, this is if someone else called the lead for me. I'm going to say, we just spoke about a possible creative transaction for this listing. Please see attached for the LOI, a seller net sheet, some frequently asked questions about subject to, and lastly, a credibility letter with references from past sellers, title companies, and closing attorneys, and a proof of funds is attached at the bottom. I'm sure you'll have some more questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out for more info. And then any subject to offer, I always send this as well. I will also include my lender's information below. He is licensed in Colorado, Florida, and Ohio. He has worked with us on several sub-2 transactions and can help assist in any questions about how this will affect your client's buying power moving forward. Because they will have that question, right? How can I buy a home if I still have this debt? So my lender will be able to help them figure that out. So let me go to my downloads. Oh, I didn't download the LOI. So download this sucker right here. Okay, so there's my seller net sheet and my LOI. Oh wait, that's the wrong, I didn't download the seller net sheet then also. That's not the right one. Oh no, did I close the seller net sheet? No, it's right here. So file, export to PDF. Next. Seller net sheet for Montreal. I'm so bad at spelling. If there's one thing you guys got to know about me is that I do not know how to spell. And you don't need to. Oh, wow, I nailed it. Okay, Montreal Drive. Oh, wait, no, I did not. Where are we at right here? Montreal Drive. Okay. Export. Close that. Okay, so there is my seller net sheet. And then, like I said, I also send them a subject to frequently asked questions. I send them my lender's information and our credibility letter. And this email is ready to go. So I send that off. And then I typically will upload it. If it's not already in my CRM, I will upload it in my CRM, and that will just help remind me to follow up. So Teresa says, no worries, JB. Thanks for showing up, man. Dylan, I should have printed and input the key numbers. Can I schedule a quick call with you after this Zoom? Sure, Teresa. Yeah, I don't know if I'll have time today, but shoot me a text message and we can get something scheduled. Oh, I'm on Angie's account. Didn't even realize. Yeah, so yeah, let me show you guys how to find all of this stuff. So, and I'll go back over, if that person is still here, I'll go back over the filters so you guys can just take a picture of it. So one, if you're not a part of our Herd of Profits Facebook group, what are you doing? So I'll post the link to that in the chat. So everyone, if you're not a part of this, go ahead and join. It's free, there's no cost. We post some good resources for you guys. So go over here to files. If it loads. Did it load? Okay, here it goes. So in here, we have a copy of a script for agent call. So basically how I outline my calls that you guys heard today, this is the script for it. Here's a foreclosure process if you guys are calling foreclosures. And then here is the seller finance LOI. Like I said, there's three. So the seller finance, the hybrid, and the subject to only LOI. So there's your LOIs. I also have a spreadsheet to underwrite creative finance deals. So deal or no deal. This is a deal underwriting calculator you guys can use. This is our buy box. So if you guys want to look at what we are buying, go ahead and check that out. Estimating repair costs. This is an amazing PDF. You guys should all download and save this on your computer. This is how you can figure out how to fix a beat up property. And then here is the seller net sheet. So the seller net sheet that I just used to fill out and send, this is it right here. You may need to format it correctly. So if you don't know how to do that, just rewatch the video. It's pretty simple. Also a quick Google search will help you figure that out. And yeah, that's it. We have a couple of duplicates in here, but yeah, so you should be able to like download this and then export it to like a CSV or whatever your computer uses. I have a Mac, so I don't even have Excel, but you should be able to convert this to whatever, a Google Sheet, a CSV document, whatever you need. Mark says, so I noticed that the LLC was different than LOI than it is being presented on the email. Is that because you deal acquired with the group for reps you do business with, meaning it will get you paid versus the group? So yeah, Mark, this is all about corporate structure. So the name of our company is Pro Reps. We actually don't even have an LLC for our business. That's just what we call ourselves. Our LLC is just an entity that we operate under. So we have multiple LLCs. So we just call ourselves Reps, which stands for Real Estate Problem Solvers. So that's just the name of our business, but our LLC is separate from that. So Teresa asked, just to be clear, we need 3 docs: seller net sheet, the LOI, the offer, and the credibility letter. So you don't necessarily need the credibility letter. If you're a sub-2 student, PACE has one that you can use. Because we've done quite a few deals, we've made our own credibility letter, but you don't need one. So no, you don't need the credibility letter. I would say the seller or the subject to frequently asked questions is probably pretty good for you guys to have. So I'll do that right now, actually. Let me go to, I think I just need to go to discussions and make a post. Here is the subject, subject to, spell it out, frequently asked questions. And so this will also be in the files tab of the Herd of Profits Facebook group. There you go. Okay, So there's that. Now, let me show you guys, lastly, I want to show you the filters again, because I know this is key. Like this is the, you know, the holy grail, I guess, if you call it that, of how we find our deals. So 80% LTV is how I have it saved. So again, bust out your guys' cameras if you guys want to take a picture of this or write it down. Again, it's residential properties, single family, multifamily. It's small and large multifamily, but you typically don't see large multifamily. 3 bedrooms or more, 2 baths or more. We want for sale active properties. Listing amount is 550,000 or less. And you can even decrease that. I think I wouldn't go above that, but you can definitely do like 350 or less. That's at a better price range to stick to. Owner type, I have it as individual, but you can do corporate, mix, trust, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now the key to this filter is your 80% or more loan to value, LTV, right? So if you come into valuation and equity, that's this filter right here, 80% LTV. You could also do estimated equity. You could also do 20% max. It's the exact same thing. Okay. And then remaining balance, I'm looking for homes with a loan less than 500K. And I only want, oh, up here, I forgot this one. I only want 1 number of open mortgages. I don't want 2 or 3. I just want 1. I don't want 0, right? Because then not sub 2. I want 1 loan and that's it. Conventional FHA or VA only. I don't want revolving credit lines. I don't want HELOCs. I don't want commercial loans or construction loans. And then interest rate 5% or less. That's the filter. Okay. Yes, and I can show the seller net sheet as well. So, and again, guys, this Zoom will be recorded on Angie's YouTube, and I will drop the link so you can come back and rewatch it. Angie Milanazzo. I'm yelling at you guys up, caps lock on. See right here, we're live right now. Will be recorded on Angie's YouTube, and I will drop the link so you can come back and rewatch it. So here's the link to this live. And Angie is at 630 subscribers. We need to get her to 1,000 by the end of June. So if you guys could also subscribe to Angie's YouTube channel, that would be greatly appreciated. And then our past lives, like I said, we do a Zoom twice a week. Sub 2 explanation. Right on. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, so we do a Zoom every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, where that is just a Q&A. So you guys can come and bring any questions you have. And then every Friday at noon Mountain Time, where we do more of a specific type of Zoom like today. So, so yeah, hopefully you guys got some value out of that today. Let me stop my share. And then I'm going to leave you guys with just a few more links. Yeah, Amy, great question. So here's how you guys can add value for us. So we have some links for you guys. What's up, bro? Just give me 1 second. We have some links for you guys where you guys can upload any leads that you come across. So, you know, I encourage you guys to try to do this on your own. Wholesale, keep, wrap properties on your own. If you don't feel comfortable with it, you're not sure how to get a deal from start to finish, we offer a JV program so you guys can joint venture with us. So I just posted a link in the chat. That is, it says cashbuys.com, but it's just a lead form link. So you guys can save that lead. It's also in the Herd of Profits Facebook group. You can find it there. If you guys need help on any deals and you want to JV with us, you can fill out your lead in that form. It gets sent to our CRM, and either me, Joey, or Angie will call you to go over the lead, and then three-way call the seller or the agent with you to try to get it locked up, and then we will help you open escrow, deposit earnest money, find a buyer, and get it to the finish line. So awesome. I don't know how Pace does 4-hour or 5-hour, 6-hour Zooms. My throat is already on fire. My voice hurts. So we are going to call it there. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Shout out to you guys. I know life is tough. Real estate investing is this huge animal and you're not sure how to take it down. That's why it's called the Elephant Challenge. You start with one bite at a time. So shout out to you guys for just trying to further your education. We are here to help. Hopefully we can, Larry's done 2 10-hour casts. I don't know how you do that. My voice is on fire. But yeah, thank you guys for showing up. Shout out to you guys. Have a great weekend. Have a good Memorial weekend. Be safe. Make some calls, crush it. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace. See you guys.